And welcome to the bronze medal match here at the Division 2 Mixed Ultimate Championships in sunny Nelson Bay. We have Southwest Ultimate Ambush taking on the Brisbanites, as we just saw the Brisbanites go down in what was an electrifying Universe Point game. I'm Callum Faulkner and I'm joined by Avril Tam as this game gets underway.
Both teams coming off semi-final losses. It's always a really tricky thing to try and back it up. The Brisbanites only had about 10 minutes between the conclusion of their match and starting this one, as we have Wang. That one slips through the fingers of Hamilton, so mentally it might be which team can switch on from the start of this game. SWU Ambush with a short field to work with. SWU out of New South Wales. Huang picking up the disc, swings it across to Lai. Lai, a lovely shot upfield to Wu. Lai comes behind for the dump, but he elects instead for Tran. And Tran goes for a bladey flick, but that one is out of reach despite a great bidding effort by Wu. So SWU Ultimate giving the disc back to Brisbanites.
You can expect James Wu to leave his feet a lot this game. This man is a defensive powerhouse. He is a Division 1 player and he is an absolute machine.
So one turn apiece for each team in the first point, as the wind is starting to gust up a little bit. And Wang there secures that one with two hands, as does Gurman. Gurman now goes for a flick shot. He's got tall target in James, who reads that one perfectly despite a little bit of a trailing edge to the outside, but Brisbanites get on the board to hold the first point 1-0.
It was an excellent deep cut by Regan Artaud, supported by James Quinn there, who comes down, with Quinn James coming down with the Frisbee there, and he has quite a passionate celebration as he relieves some frustration, most likely still lingering from the previous game. The lovely look from Gurman has both receivers out in space and it's up falling right into James's hands as he does his best to bury that Frisbee, and we will see a replacement disc now on the field. It's not a great way to start the game. It's not exactly high-spirited, but somewhat empathetic with the frustrations of the previous game.
And we will get a first look at SWU's offensive unit. They are a large roster. They have 23 players available today. They did have a 24th. Unfortunately, they were injured, so 23, certainly a few more than the roster of 20 for the Brisbanites. And that might prove to be a factor towards the tail end of this game after 3 long days of Ultimate at the Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships Division 2. And it looks like a standard vert stack with 2 back and 5 upfield. Initial look is a break, but and a fantastic D by O'Sullivan from Brisbanites gets that first throw turn. And Parker walks up to the disc. And a lovely break cut by Yang, but that one doesn't get free, so he goes for the open shot in Haney, who now goes to Yang, but that one floats over the top, and Sullivan again with the scraps. And Brisbanites 2-zip with a break. Sullivan on nice and early for this game. Haney also looking the goods, and Yang working very hard, showing no signs of slowing down after that incredible semi-final.
O'Sullivan has such an exceptional read on the Frisbee. We saw it in the previous games. Disc manages to bobble over contests. He just finds where the Frisbee's going to land and gets there first, and that is Such an exceptional recovery from her, tracking halfway across the field to pick that one up, and Haney will breathe a sigh of relief. That falls into his receiver's lap.
Again, it's that same third flick huck. As we said earlier, it's a very difficult throw, although a lot of the players here at this tournament making it look very easy, Haney included. He'll be very disappointed after that semi-final loss. I'm sure he'll be keen to avenge that with a dirty gold in this match.
And we see Brisbanites now mirroring the start of their previous game, going up early with a 2-0 lead. We're looking to show great discipline and holding here as the pull goes up from Wang. Nice and deep, goes over Varun's head as SWU now have to scramble. Has Packy in space. Will now dump it back to Varun. Won't dump it to Varun instead. Goes to Weiser. Doesn't shoot to Upton. Finds him instead on the great under. That's an awesome throw. Weiser. Upton has a dump. Towed the line. Does Shannon Leong. Who finds Upton. It's a lovely dump. Swings it over to Ruby. Lovely rolling grab to Packy. He's going to find Upton now. Easy dump. Upton gets his hands. Looks like it was underneath it. It's a down called quickly by Quinn James.
As we see here on the replay, some closer vision from Cam 2. Ooh, tricky to know if that edge away from Upton touched some blades of grass or not. And other players asked for their perspective. Mary Tony, the game advisor in yellow, also on hand. It's a retracted call and the disc will stay with Upton.
Yeah, great spirit from Gurman there. Just siding with the SWU ambush people there, calling it up against his own team as Weiser now finds it. Great pivot. This young man, he's a very good developing player as Wang and Varun collide. A bit of a head clash. Injury called. Something from both players.
And teammates coming in from the sideline to support both players, just needing a minute to come off the sideline. I think both going in the same line and clash of heads there. And looks like Wang will also be assisted off-field or on the blood rule as well there. So just a little graze to the head. Both players very brave to go for the disc, and the sunnies there maybe causing a little bit of that trickle. As we see here in the replay, just a swing on, just a collision.
Yeah, Wang looking to close down the distance there, and Varun as Varun changes direction. Go into the lane, and we'll see Edmund and Haney coming on.
As we have Upton, who goes to the open shot in Leong, getting involved early, and target was Biner, but the disc ends up in Regan Artaud's mitts, and James, that one bounces out of his mitts. And James just perhaps needing to dial it in. He was really steady in the early part of the semi-final, but started to have a couple of execution errors towards the end. And that is a lovely undercut here by Weiser. One of two brothers on this SWU team. Dumps back to Ruby. A nice swing across to Packy. And SWU just happy to swing it around the backfield, waiting until the open shot comes up. Cutter's becoming a little weary perhaps. And a cold drop, that will be disappointing for Weiser and his SWU teammates. So the Brisbanites take a deep breath. They're going to gear up. If they can string together some nice offensive flow, James goes for a big option to Gurman. And despite plenty of pressure there from Packy, German makes good, and that is Brisbanites up 3-love early in this bronze medal match.
Packy normally would leave his feet to attempt to intercept that disc. He's possibly just a little fatigued, and German finds a lot of space out back as SWU not really finding a lot of flow downfield, and lots of passes in the hand of the space, building pressure, and it's unfortunate to get a bobble out of the hands of it's normally a very reliable Peter Weiser there. See Sinakova now with the Frisbee.
SWU have been ready a long time, waiting for the Brisbanites to get their defense sorted. Sinakova, a lovely floaty pull there, allowing Yang to apply pressure on that first pass. SWU in no rush whatsoever to get things started. And looks like a 6-1 stack, although some break opportunities, and opens up the deep field. Intended receiver in Lai. That one goes past. And an interesting option, just wanting to huck it deep early on.
Yeah, uncharacteristic from Edmund Fung there. Normally a very reliable handler. Wouldn't rush his throws, as it looked like Lai wasn't really expecting that Frisbee to come after her initial cut. There's a lot of defensive powerhouses out on this SWU line at the minute.
And Brisbanites now starting. Sunilkova working hard, jinking through to get free on the open side, and Wearing's going to have to track that. She tracks it well, and the scrap's picked up again by O'Sullivan, becoming a O'Sullivan scrap specialist. And Hess now shows the flick, throws the flick. Again, O'Sullivan getting involved in all the chains of play so far. A little dishy goes up to Yang, holsters that big pivot, opts to Sunilkova back, and a little 1-2 up line, and he has a completely open receiver, but that is shut completely down. And SWU, that is Atenzia with an incredible D. I thought that was a guaranteed goal. Now throws it up, but too far, and there is an injury called. Whether or not that affected the play, not sure who the injury call is for.
So Yang's called that on Weiser here.
Or was it a foul call rather than an injury?
I think so, yeah, just the wrong hand signal. And as we see Weiser with an exceptional bid to get that disc. It was out of his reach. And looks like Weiser is calling for a turnover anyway, which is great spirit. Suggesting that it should stand after such an incredible layout tee. I think we can expect that from a fair few of these SWU players. Their defensive intensity is possibly the best at this tournament.
Yeah, so again, Brisbanites rotating through their handlers. Sinilkova, haven't seen her in the handler space very much in all of Brisbanite streams, but that is a beautiful inside flick to Yang, and then an around back hack to Hess, but a pick is called. That was some smooth moving offensive flow by Brisbanites.
Loving the inside looks. I mean, Yang able just to get a quick step on Weiser here, and Sinilkova really stepping up. Maybe Brisbanites have addressed previous games, and she will step up. There's Yang. Has Hess, but throws over the top. Perhaps not his intended target in Parker, but finds himself right there on the doorstep of the end zone as he dumps it back to Yang. Looking to take charge of this point. Parker face marked.
SWU doing well to drive the Brisbanites back.
See Hess now, reliable with his flick over the top, and Yang! So Sullivan almost gets another scrap. She's always in the right spot, and just unfortunate as maybe the wind playing tricks on the receivers. SWU now bringing the Frisbee off the front cone with Georgia Moo. As Visor there with a lovely cut. Rips a backhand. It's going to take a lot for it to come back. It is shaping up. Artenenza needs a touch, but Parker's going to run, intercept.
Yeah, best make sure of it. You don't know what's going to happen in this wind. Worst case scenario is SWU maintain possession with a short field, so fair enough that he went to ensure that was a turnover.
We've seen Artenenza's ability already to leave his feet and make incredible grabs.
So Sinulkova now to bring it up. It's a rough spot in that corner, but again, another lovely inside flick. That one goes to Wearing, and a little one to Wang. Works through with Wearing, and she goes for a big lefty backhand huck. Looking for Hess, well covered by Visor, who can read the disc better, and Visor does in the end, just reaching over the top and swatting that one away. Maybe a little bit of discussion. Nope, Hess walks away, realizing that position was had by Visor.
Yeah, look, Visor's such a big frame. You really don't want to be caught in a one-on-one underneath the Frisbee against him, as Wearing just, I think, the wind now coming across away from your screen. Expect that the wind bubbled there as Georgia Moo just can't find the hands of Lai there.
And Sinulkova again, will we see another juicy inside flick from this close sideline?
Yang is set up for it.
And we do indeed. Hess this time receiving at that front of stack position. And Parker, lovely to Yang. That is the smooth moving offense for the Brisbanites that we have become accustomed to seeing on your screens. Continuing to work hard in this bronze medal match. Brisbanites with another score 4-0.
And we'll see this work from Sinulkova. She's really stepped up to the shortcomings of last game. Finds Hess on the inside. Got to think SWU will adjust for that as Parker finds a Yang, who has just been electric these past two games. Got to see an adjustment here from SWU to stop those inside looks, as they're willing to force it and trap on this high side, possibly to the advantage of Brisbanites at the moment.
Yeah, the Brisbanites, the inside flicks, we've seen about 4 or 5 from Sinulkova already, and Yang just having although we're shorter in stature, just having a really fantastic pivot, always throws with such balance, and when you're throwing that low, it's so difficult for the defense to get all the way down to block that. If he doesn't get the inside, he gets the around break. So Brisbanites proving that their throwing skills are too hot to handle for SWU ambush, as we see the medical staff who've been working hard all this tournament. And we thank them for their support of Ultimate, just getting Wang patched up.
So we see a rolling pull from Hamilton there. Jake Upton to field the disc with Sasha Paki on his left hip. Finds Visor. These two have been linking up great so far. Visor has an inside look, throws it there. As Upton now just out of reach of Leong. SWU now, another error. Going to have to stop this Brisbaneite break chances. Quinn James looked to pick up the Frisbee. He's been pretty damaging so far. Has Gurman, who's been his main receiver at the moment. Gurman slightly overthrown. And Lucinda Ruby will come away with the defensive stat to her name. Paki picks up the Frisbee. Finds Boehner. Upton shoots. It's quite a laser out in front. Visor's got some work to do. And Paki comes streaking in. Yep, you're on stream. You may as well leave your feet, get some footage. Just a little bit too low from Upton there.
Yeah, the targets and the throws have not been quite as pinpoint for SWU Ambush early in this game.
As Quinn now looks to find a dump or some kind of reset. Throws a big scuba to Hamilton, but Visor is there. He sees that coming from a mile off as the Brisbanites just scramble to get something moving. Ruby now will pick up the Frisbee. Has Packy cut into that cone. Packy makes sure of it, but is just outside. Resets. Needs to dump. Has Ruby. Throws over the top to Upton, who can get up. He is a long boy. Throws it over to Leong again. She's been getting a lot of Frisbee so far. Lots of work on the inside, but dumps to Upton. Doesn't throw it back to Leong, but Visor's there and too much space. Got to be a pick.
Some exciting times. Brisbanites, SWU Ambush turning on some fantastic defense. If they can tidy up their offense, they're going to be able to peg a few back. I think they're in it. Certainly keeping their vibes and energy up high early in this game.
As we've seen previously, you can be down this much and you are not out. Always an opportunity to come back. As Upton now, picking the Frisbee, Ruby, Packy, and Visor at the front. He's going to go back to Upton. A quick 1-2 move, and SWU hold. The first time this game, getting a point on the board.
SWU will be pleased with that one. They were working very hard on defense, managed to generate several opportunities. Earlier in the point, the offensive execution wasn't quite there, but this one they stayed really nice and patient. Just happy to swing the disc around until a 100% option presented itself. And here we go. So difficult to do that 1-2 when you really stretch the field.
We're seeing great movement from SWU at the front of the stack. Looks like they've got a pretty set end zone set. Lots of cuts generated from the one once they get past that brick mark.
Is it Peter Visor or the other?
Peter. Matt Visor's the big one. Sideline, come on!
And we have Chuck here pecking away, looking for a feed. Now settling in closer to lunchtime, looking for a snack, and it doesn't fly off until the SWU defense rushes past him, as we have O'Sullivan this time in the backfield rather than in the receiving space. Oh, and Haney catches that as he falls over, and that flick hug did not come out as he would have intended. It's falling over as he threw that shot, which would have affected the flight of the disc.
Has a great receiver downfield in Yang. Scored lots of goals so far this tournament. As we see SWU swinging now. Tran to Wu. Finding Ang. Dump it back to Wu. Bit of pressure from the Brisbanites so far. SWU look to work it upfield. Finding Huang. It's going to require a bid here. That's a lovely diving attempt from Lau. Gets past horizontal to make that bid, but unable to come away with it.
So Haney now thought he might go big, but he goes the under to Hess. Hess to Yang. Classic combo there. Sinulkova now getting involved. And quick movement to Yang, who loves this small ball. Safe little dump to Sinulkova, and Brisbanites needing to reposition their stack. And again, a tasty inside flick from Sinulkova. Peg goes back to Hess. And Yang, Brisbanites cycling through their players. That was a travel call, so he had to correct it, and Hess's cut a little mistimed given the travel call, as he does now go for the second effort. And is anyone going to attack the open side? Haney does. And Haney scores for the Brisbanites. They get a score to go up 5-1.
We're seeing lots of determinations from both teams here as Lau shuts down Yang. You said quite an impressive point, but Hester Haney. Hess proving so reliable this tournament in that forced flick lane. He just gets the Frisbee there, and in power position is just so great at throwing that outside in shape.
Yeah, yet another beautiful inside flick from Sinokova. She's not on the stats board as yet, but involved in every single chain of play. And a bit disappointing for SWU. Ambush down on the scoreboard, and also looks like they may be a player down. We can see Sharul Akmal now switching over to the light coloured top. Looks like he will no longer be participating in this bronze medal match. Big pull goes up from the Brisbanites in sunny Nelson Bay. SWU Ambush looking for a second hold, and that one bubbles out of hands again. These execution errors just stifling any opportunity for a smooth offensive point. Brisbanites just looking too classy at the moment for SWU Ambush, as we have Parker telling the cutters to set up deeper as he goes for Hess, but fantastic defensive pressure and intercept there from Packy. And SWU get another bite. It's to Packy, to Atienza. And Brisbanites opting for a zone look. You can see some players sagging in the lane, but that's a beautiful shot to Atienza. And Packy really championing this offense. He's got Upton in support, and now he swings it across. I like that they are using the width of the field. They got the swing, but you saw the gesturing, asking the downfield cutters to come in for the continuation. As Biner, a little dump to Upton, and goes for a bladey flick. Oh, and Atienza, I think, deflected the disc into his teammate's head. And they get a little bit of field position there. Brisbanites to bring it in through Parker yet again. So Gurman working hard on the under. Hess also on the under.
Packy!
Oh, and an incredible layout blocked by Packy. He gets huge and horizontal. And SWU Ambush. A short field here. And Upton setting up in the dump space.
That is an exceptional play from the young man. He's known for his defensive efforts, and he has proven it once again. He will get turns back.
And Ruby, inside shot to Biner for Ambush's second goal. Ambush ambushing Brisbanites shot at another point. Huge horizontal bid there. Ambush looking to keep this pressure up, keep the intensity up. Love to see a few more bids on this stream, Callum.
Sasha Packy, take a bow, young man. And Ruby with such a clinical throw to Biner. That inside space for both teams proving very damaging. Downfield receivers and defenders going to have to adjust. I'd like to talk about the zone offense a little bit there from SWU. So the Wollongong contingent of this Southwest Ultimate team playing in that backspace. Wollongong known for its wind. So these players have lots of experience facing zones. The zone offense utilizing that dump and swing.
This was good. I was like, oh yeah, I need to give him space. So that was good that you're on.
Interesting to note that Wang is patched up and has returned to the sideline. Walking on the field then, not on the line currently, but could still be playing this game. As Mu now flips a backhand. Offside is called, but I feel like Brisbanites have a more advantageous spot halfway up the field. So they elect not to take it, and they will bring it in front of Peg there. Yang to field with Yu behind the Frisbee, a very damaging duo.
Yeah, we've seen on the previous stream Yang and Yu, but there is a foul there. I think Yu just got a bit tripped up trying to go into that handler space. A bit of a cleat there to the foot as you see her working out that ankle on the right side. And I would imagine an accepted foul. Nice hand signals there to let us know what is going on, and Mary Tony there, the game advisor in yellow, also in support. So the disc will come in from Yang, who goes all the way backwards to Hess for a dump. And Hess across to you. Ooh, and a lovely shot up to O'Sullivan. Very clean catch this time. And Yang goes up line, and she looks for Wearing. That was a bladey flick, but Wearing manages to save that disc and catch it in for a goal.
Yeah, not sure if that is how O'Sullivan wanted to throw that Frisbee, but gets an assist to her name. Uncharacteristic of the usual end zone receiver, but Wearing, such a great job tracking that Frisbee. See her just streaking across the field, so much space over the top.
Yeah, and the deep in that zone just got caught a little bit out, was trending and got caught in no man's land between the two deep wings or offensive players, and that left Wearing wide open. The defensive wing wasn't able to drop back quick enough to help cover that space, so well done to Brisbanites for picking through that zone with relative ease. I like how they swung the disc and the continuations were happening, whereas for SWU Ambush, they got the swings, but the continuation wasn't quite hitting the mark.
Yeah. We might see another zone put on by the Brisbanites here. So once again, we see that Wollongong contingent. It's the middle three in the 7. Brisbanites just have a second run at this pool now. Brought in by Taylor.
That is a lovely pull from Taylor in some gusty conditions. Nice float. Comes up to Visor, who's unmarked at present, but Avila now attends to him. And a flat mark by Brisbanites generates that turn. And Ruby apologises for that miscue. But again, Brisbanites going for that straight up force, preventing the big hucks. Certainly giving some different looks and making SWU Ambush keep adjusting. As we have James here who goes for a big shot. That is going to go far left and well too far there for Gurman. But forcing SWU Ambush to start in their defending end zone.
It was an interesting look considering the wind. And with Jake Upton quite tight on Sandy Gurman there. Possibly Quinn James just looking to throw himself. It's a bit of rough patch of form at the minute.
Yeah, it's tough in these long tournaments, the fatigue and then the concentration. You know, there can be some lapses, but he's got a big mark there, but fantastic bid by Upton to keep the disc up. And he also goes for a flick huck. This time Avila manages to nudge that one to the ground before Visor can have any chance through it.
Yeah, we've just seen the throwers struggle with this kind of diagonal breeze coming from the front right of screen, pushing to the back left, and looks like the flick hucks aren't exactly coming off right now as they're not able to purchase in the wind.
And Taylor this time picks up the disc for the Brisbanites. Eventually gets it off to James, fakes a big, and then goes a flick upfield to Avila. jumps and secures that one with 2 hands. And Regan Turner now, she opts also for a big flick huck, so not afraid for these big games. And Gurman boxes Upton out perfectly. Regan Turner, that was a trust throw. She just caught and threw it immediately. That was a beautiful passage of play by the Brisbanites.
Exceptional work from Gurman there to read that Frisbee on the way in. Jake Upton unable to get involved effectively with that huck that's gone up. Arto's been doing a lot of receiving this weekend and instead shows her throwing prowess and floats. You see it just kind of catch the wind there and sail over Upton's head, and Gurman with a very easy catch.
Yeah, Gurman worked really hard to nudge Upton under the flight of the disc and box him out to make it a very easy catch in the end. So both teammates making each other look good. As there'll, I think, be some confirmation of the gender for this point. As we know, we are playing an ABBA for this tournament, so this game started with the first point with 4 female matching players and 3 male matching, and then they switched to 2 male matching and then back to 2 female matching. So also helpful to have our game advisors help us track those ones. It is always a tricky thing to have multiple things, multiple pieces of information in your head during the game.
It looks like a bit of a power line's been called by SWU Ambush. You see Edmund Fung supporting Packy and Ruby behind the Frisbee as Fung now gets a Frisbee with a Parker having a big sniff there off the first pass. Little dump to Ruby up line, power position, Huck finds Young, who seems to always manage to get into space downfield, dumps it to Weiser. Throws it to Jake Upton and SWU as easy as you'd like it. Find a way to hold.
And that is the second point with the Weiser-Upton connection. They'll be looking to make use of that one to try and peg back a few points. SWU Ambush now with their 3rd point of this game, with Brisbanites up at 7. Our power line certainly proven to be effective.
See Leong here, just so calm underneath the Frisbee. Did so well to find space, and as you said, that Weiser-Upton connection so far, I think normally it would be the other way around with Upton throwing the goals to beat her, but the young man's been working so hard to generate unders, taking advantage of his deep threat.
And the power line really key here. That was the first clean hold for SWU Ambush. They did their previous 2 points. There's been a turn each for each team. So the first clean first clean hold, hopefully cleaning up this offense for SWU Ambush.
See Tran now. Eriksson, outside in backhand, that's going to be caught as a brick by Parker. Walks it into the middle of the field, the SWU line. Lots of players who are not afraid to leave their feet or to come up with the Frisbee. Parker now doesn't have a lot of options as the Brisbanites set a very deep stack generating from the front. So Villa now finds the Frisbee and has Gurman in space, who stops, and luckily it is a gentle throw from Avila. He gets thrown out in space and almost deed by the SWU defender, but Parker looks to steady the ship. Throws a bladey flick. Lau is there.
You can hear the voices from the sideline, the SWU team trying to help their defense, but Parker gets redemption for his earlier throwaway.
Bahaji now finds, I believe that is Wang in the end zone. As Brisbanites take half after what was a missed opportunity from SWU. See the replay now. It's a SWU there from Lau. Gets eaten up by Parker, who is turning it on at the moment. And Bahajia finds Wang. A lot of space near that front cone. And that will do it for the Brisbanites. They take half with a very commanding lead. 5 points. 8-3 by SWU. We'll rejoin you after our halftime break.
Bichon picks up, and they've got a short field. They've got another goal. It's tied up at 12. I cannot believe what I'm seeing here.
Can Lola Dam chase that one down? That is a score for Harsliker Elferkel. Fantastic run by Julia Lutz.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge.
And we believe that requires knocking down the paywall.
We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch, and we want them to go viral.
When you become a member, you enable us to improve our working relationships with tournament organisers, events and federations.
And you'll help us to produce live stories for Ultimate fans, and to generate new fans with our enhanced content.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts, and we want to bring you coverage on a more consistent basis. We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Ciao ragazzi, support the community.
Let's subscribe ULTI.TV. There's lots of the videos, posting, everything. Check it out. They are the best one. Woo!
If you want to grow Ultimate Sports, become a member of ULTI.TV.
Regardez ULTI.TV. Deviens un membre d'ULTI.TV et fais grandir ta communauté.
Stop ULTI.TV. Följ med Ultimate Vandromene.
Si quieres ayudar a ULTI.TV, puedes ser miembro de ULTI.TV.
Everyone, follow ULTI.TV on Instagram, on YouTube. They've got everything.
Best content.
Like their pictures if you love Frisbee. Just do it.
We're counting on you.
Bli medlem på ULTI.TV.
Became member
of ULTI.TV.
Mamma mia.
Contribue au développement d'Ultimate avec ULTI.TV.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
We want to grow Ultimate.
we want to grow Ultimate. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We have our signature style 2-camera setup,
With thousands of hours of experience,
and our crew is globally dispersed to facilitate coverage everywhere around the world. We can also scale back our broadcast with just one elevated camera, or scale up with 2 fields, 2 cameras, and 2 commentators on each.
we work with local teams and we all have the same mission, to grow the sport and bring it to new people by providing live coverage and new stories.
Become a member today on our Patreon page.
And fund our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories, ideas and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
And welcome back to our bronze medal match at the Div 2 Mixed Ultimate Championships here in a sunny Nelson Bay as SWU Ambush face the surmountable task of coming back against the Brisbanites, who have found themselves in similar conditions in the semi-finals and weren't able to hold out. I'm Callum Faulkner. I'm joined by Avril Tam.
That's right, a very similar scoreline. Brisbanites took half against Oblivion 8-4 in the semi-final. They are up 8-3 in this bronze medal match. They will be hoping to get the chockies this time. Oblivion, as we know, had a big comeback, and that's what SWU Ambush will be looking for as well in the second half, seeing if they can replicate Oblivion's efforts. As that pull lands out of bounds, and that will be brought in at the brick mark by Packy, who had that spectacular head height horizontal layout D early in this game. We'll be looking for more highlights from him and his team.
And I think we can expect that moving forward as Packy now brings in the Frisbee to Upton. These two linking up well. Flies is free downfield, but finds De Jong, who just bobbles out of her hands. She's finding herself in lots of open space, just unable to receive a nice throw from her handlers so far, as Yu has the Frisbee. Has Yang in a very tight space as he circles around. Next not to shoot. Salnikova, nice and close. She's been exceptional with this so far, and throws with a diving grab by Weering, who's been turning it on this game. Dumps it back to Salnikova, who has Haney up the line, and just a diving grab from Haney, who uses his body to keep Packy out of the contest. And that is an exceptional physical effort from the two players there.
Absolutely. Salnikova again getting very involved in the play. And Haney, desperation, as we said earlier, leaving every last effort on the field. This time, interesting option. I like the SWU switch up in forcing the backhand. And that is a fantastic grab there by Weering, getting on the ground to make sure of the catch. And Salnikova here, just waiting for those cuts to evolve. And a lovely outside-in shape to Haney for the score.
Yeah, Salnikova's really stepped up this game so far. We didn't see her in the handler space much at all in previous games, and it's decided, you know what, I'll put this team on my back and I'll step up. Gonna see SWU with that Wollongong contingent out there again. So this contingent of Biner, who picked up with Surge the previous women's season. We have Upton and Packy, a part of the Crank squad, and all led by Lucinda Ruby, who rallied the troops with an awe-inspiring speech at halftime. As we see Packy now to Biner. He's going to reset to Packy, who just bobbles it under the pressure of Avila. And SWU, another costly turnover as Parker moves to pick up the Frisbee.
Parker, lovely open side throw to Gurman, but that is gobbled up by Packy, who immediately goes for a big shot to Visor, perfectly placed in his breadbasket. And a lovely little turn there, Tran. Back to Visor and Packy, and surely he hits Visor, who's completely open and poached. But the cavalry arrive, and a sweeping flick cross to Upton. And SWU ambush getting on the board in this second half.
So the Crank boys connect there towards the end. What a lovely job from Packy there to find the redemption in that defense. Just explodes out of nowhere. You've got to wonder who that disc was meant for, if not, but it says Nodal Pizer there, who's just standing stone cold in the end zone. Back he goes, now do something a little bit harder. Upton.
So SWU ambush working really hard. I love that flow coming up. They have certainly battled their way through to get to this bronze medal match.
Yeah, we've seen SWU go undefeated until today. They beat Aurora Borealis Y, Geriatrics, Piewagon, Trojan, and Ballarat. They've made their way through the competition with relative ease so far. 2 Universe wins. So they wouldn't be shy of high-pressure games and clawing back in. We saw them go down to the Frizz Besties 8-12 in the semis, but looking to redeem themselves here as they've got a 5-point lead to claw back in as Edmund Fung unleashes a huge backhand pull. That is absolutely monstrous as Yang finds himself underneath it as SWU have an excellent rundown. Atienza's there on the mark of Haney. Yang finds Yu. Those three so crucial. Behind the Frisbee finds Hess. Lovely flick into O'Sullivan, who always finds herself free. Has Peg and Salnikova deep. Salnikova's there, so is Haney. Either one will do. As Salnikova finishes off. The point to Haney is Visor. The Sunder veteran will call a travel as he believes Salnikova was over the line. Let's just get confirmation from our game advisor.
As in she travelled over the line and then didn't come back out to establish her pivot.
I think
Perhaps
so.
will be the argument.
And we'll see that on the replay here yet.
Oh,
Her
she
foot's
didn't.
just past the
Yeah,
line.
okay. So she didn't come back after she slowed down, basically.
And this is going to give Atienza a good chance here to get a block on Haney, who's going to find himself in some isolated space. Salnikova bringing the Frisbee right on the doorstep.
Yep, so the previous score for the Brisbanites was indeed Salnikova to Haney, and that is, oh no, Haney drops. That we thought was a sure goal. And Haney a bit disappointed with that one. The wind just gusting up at the wrong second.
And it's excellent work from Salnikova again. She's really proving herself in the handler space, and
that is nothing. There is nothing wrong with that throw. Salnikova kept it nice and low, plenty of snap. Haney must have just blinked as he caught that disc and just fumbled it out of hands.
Fung now has a receiver running deep, throws an absolute laser, and Haney gets involved. He'll claim a defensive stat, I'm sure, as Brisbanites force another turnover. Fung goes for it. Just a head-high laser, and Haney doesn't get a hand on it there, and just out of the reach of Tran as Yang fakes. Has Yu behind the Frisbee, ever so reliable. Finds Hess, who's not afraid to huck it. We've seen already. Fung's there. Haney underneath it, and Haney makes sure of it just before the line. Has 2 receivers deep. Just says, everyone calm down. I'll dump it to Yang, who will jump it in. And Brisbanites hold. And what was a very back and forth point. Lots of action.
Absolutely. The Brisbanites O-line with Haney, Yang, Yu, Salnikova, Hess, very even spread of plays, and Gurman in previous points also being very prominent. So their O-line just ticking along really well. You could see here plenty of support in O'Sullivan and Pegg, but ultimately just waiting for the easy little dishy to Yang, and fair enough, after some frantic frisbee, Haney makes good on that miscatch earlier from Sinulkova. And he just says just to slow it down, and an easy option to Yang. So, Brisbanites offense ticking along. They'll see if they can put a bit more defensive pressure to try and eke away from SWU ambush. They have shown that they can cut the mustard with a clean hold in their previous points. So their previous 2 scores have been clean holds, and they'll be looking for another one here.
It looks like SWU struggling with their long shots at the minute. So either they're going to throw their way out of the form, or they're going to holster for a little bit. As we see Parker, a lovely pull. The pull's going towards your left of screen right now. It's sitting up perfectly as Parkers gets a boost underneath the win, and that is an absolute monster sitting at the very back of the end zone. You can't get much better than that. As Bahagio comes down, arms outstretched, as Ruby finds Visor. Back to Ruby. As Lau. Over to Biner. Packy just has a little bobble, but brings it in. With a blade over the top to Visor. It's inventive. As now Lau and Visor look to dribble. Upton's there as well in support. Has Lau open in the end zone. Doesn't see it. And there he is, front cone, as Packy finishes off the point in what looked like to be a bit of trouble at the very start of the point with an exceptional pull. Gurman asking the question, but a goal has been confirmed. So you see this work with a bit of an overload in the lane. Not sure if it was a zone look by the Brisbanites. Certainly a little bit zoney. As Packy throws an excellent, sharp outside in flick to Lau, who's just camping on the front cone.
Yeah, that was indeed a Brisbanite zone. They were calling match just as that assist came up.
Ooh.
But certainly SWU ambush doing really well to work it up more than halfway up the field, cutting through that zone. So that is another clean hold for SWU, certainly tidying up their offense coming into the second half of this game.
See Edmund Fung now, a very experienced player. It's part of very impressive Sunda squad, and we see Tyrone Sambul leading the troops. Unfortunate to pick up an injury was Tyrone. Unable to play much of this tournament, and SWU now looking to get things rolling as they still face that 5-point deficit.
A familiar O-line here for Brisbanites. Yu, Yang, Hess, Salnikova, as Ewan Yang just do a quick 1-2. O'Sullivan working hard in the underspace, but is looked off. Oh, and desperation by Wu on defense. That's a good matchup against Yang, as Yang goes a big shot. Haney in the receiving space. He has a fantastic read on that curving outside in disc. Very convincing fakes to move the mark. Little dump to Hess and then to Haney. Supermans to make sure of that grab. And Brisbanites make short work of that offensive point with a hold to take it to 11-5.
Haney absolutely not afraid to throw his body around in order to secure that Frisbee. You might ask the question, was that one necessary? That's putting a little bit of mayo on it. So he dumps it back to Hess. One track mind, must score. Yeah, two-hand club catch, just tight. But looks good on stream, so.
Yeah, Haney certainly turning it up for those watching on YouTube, make sure you get around ULTI.TV down this weekend at the Division 2 Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships. We'll be back next weekend for the Division 1, so there's plenty of Frisbee to watch on your screens. We also just wrapped up the World Beach Ultimate Club Championships in Portugal, so lots of replays to catch up on. I'm looking forward to getting home and getting a few of those on the screen. And an interesting observation from Mike, who is on cam 1 at the moment. 11-5 was the exact same score in the semi-final. Brisbanites were up against Oblivion before they came back, so perhaps a dangerous scoreline as Ambush make quick work again of this Brisbanites zone, slicing through the cup. And SWU Ambush, hear them cheer. Another lovely clean offensive point. That Brisbanite zone not able to shut down that flow.
Yeah, a strong hold. According to the script from this point, 6 breaks in a row, and you'll win the game from here. As we see Pfizer and Upton just working together well here, and Upton just decides, I'm going to split this cup apart. Finds the Yong, who caps off that point excellently. Got to think that Brisbanites will need to change something up in this zone, whether it's having a bit more of an aggressive cup. Otherwise, they're going to have to put it away because SWU made that look like cutting through butter. With plenty of experience in zone offense behind the Frisbee on that particular line.
Yeah, the Brisbanites Pommy zone just looking a little bit leaky. A couple of gaps in that cup, and they've got the throwing power. Ambush in terms of trying to get it through. Liking to see Leong and Tran now on the stat sheet. A couple of their female matching players also showing that they have got what it takes in this bronze medal match.
Edmund Fung here, another towering pull, which gets pushed down by the wind at the end as see Salmakova, ever so reliable behind the Frisbee. Gets, oh my God, and the Mo Fang comes through. Peg, no call. Edmund with a huge layout block. He will be turning it on for his team as he will look to pick up the disc now. Has Tran isolated in the lane. Throws inside, just out of reach of Megan Prasad.
Oh, the wind just wreaking havoc right now. Strong gusts. Not surprised that Brisbanites are taking their time to walk this one up, waiting for the wind to settle. And that was an incredible pull by Edmund Fung. And then way to get that block to work that short field, but did not quite execute to get the pass to Prasad as we have Salnikova, the inside flick as we've known to see. Ambush have to stop that. And Hess goes up to Sullivan. It's Brisbanites' turn to work things up quickly. Salnikova, that one floats. And that is collected by Ambush, and Fang with the disc goes for a big shot. Atienza, Haney lost sight of it. Atienza with the score. Ambush making that one work and that is a break to bring it to 7-11.
As per the script, and an uncharacteristic turn from Salnikova there as Tran with the heads up D. Turns around faster than the offensive player he was marking, and Fung is stepping up with a lovely throw to Atienza, and Haney, very difficult job trying to track the disc back over his shoulder.
That is the very first break that Ambush have scored. They've left a late run, but 7-11, open long hours, and I'm sure NS I'm sure SWU Ambush want to open some more breaks up here. As we said, that dangerous scoreline of 5-11. Will the Brisbanites start to crumble?
Seeing SWU, probably another power line out there. There's some very strong defensive players out there. We've already seen Wu leave his feet a few times. We know Biner and Ruby are capable of getting blocks, and will look to steady the ship if they do get that turn. It's the Frisbee move between those two a lot.
Yep, so Fung doing double duty. He'll be looking for a second big pull as he goes for a roller this time. James picks up across to Taylor and to Parker.
Oh my God!
And a layup block to Lau gets huge in a crucial moment here.
He's done it again. This young man is exceptional, not afraid to lose his feet. Ruby now to Upton. Upton centers it back to Ruby as we regather our breaths and finds Fung, who has Lau in the lane. Doesn't elect, finds Wu instead. A high rising disc. Lau is there. Lots of contact. No call as Avila and Parker crucial there and applying the pressure, making sure Wu doesn't pick up the Frisbee.
What an insane layout grab. You see here, just gets in front. Those pounding steps accelerating through. But Taylor now pinned in her end zone. The stalk out rising and ambushing. Brisbanites shot here right on the end zone line. Incredible scenes, Callum. Ambusher rising to the occasion, looking for their second break in a row and only their second break of the entire
game. And they've done it! Ruby to Lau! They get their second break in a row! Oh, they're following the script to a T as Ambush make use of what is a very advantageous turn close to the end zone, and Brisbanites, rightfully so, call a timeout.
That is incredible. Ambush absolutely taking a leaf out of Oblivion's book. They were down 5-11, held to take it to 6-11, and now have scored 2 breaks straight to make it 8-11. As we see here, the replay, Lau here just gets absolutely horizontal. Gurman with a long reach, but Lau just reads that, baits that shot. And here we go, Ruby with an inside shot, sandwiched between 2 defenders. Lau is coming up trumps, and isn't he fired up? Ambush riding high on Spirit as a timeout is called by the Brisbanites. Plenty more action to come for the rest of this game. Will Ambush continue rising? We'll be back after the timeout.
As we see our team split away from their timeout huddles in the booth, we have assumed a standing position as we cannot be seated anymore for this electrifying bronze medal match. SWU clawing their way back in as we see the Brisbanites hype themselves up, looking to stop the run of breaks.
Both teams in their huddles recognizing the energy required to get them over this line in this intense game. It was a battle of voices, both of them getting their cheers up, getting their sideline up, making for a very exciting atmosphere. towards the end section of this bronze medal match. So certainly, will the demons of the semi-final come back to haunt the Brisbanites? Or will SWU Ambush power through to conclude this game? It's a short pull. You, ever reliable, to Haney. Unmarked, which is a dangerous proposition. Oh, that's an overthrow to you! And Ambush, another opportunity. If they score this, it'll be their third break of the game. Ruby, break throw, comes across to Visor. Ruby gets out, looking for the fill, and Leong provides. Hotly contested by Sullivan, and that one is another overthrow to Atienza. So, Brisbanites breathe a sigh of release. You, score count rising, very intense mark there.
Fung's underneath it.
And Fung, credit to the mark there of Huang, forces that overthrow, and there'll be a stoppage.
Just a discussion between Peg and Fung, possibly about establishing a pivot correctly. Not too sure, but thumbs up from Peg here.
I just want to give some credit to Huang, who put on an amazing mark on you. Hands everywhere, laid out as well, just to force that slight miscue and generate that block for Fen to catch.
Oh, and we see a big bid from Yang as Atienza now has a bit of room downfield. Fung doesn't shoot. Instead, we'll look to Ruby, find space up line, big swing, out to a diving look. Atienza's there as well, but sorry, not Leong. That was Huang there. As Haney steadies the troops, tells everyone to chill a little bit. Visor on the mark. You can feel the defensive intensity picking up as Yang has the Frisbee.
SWU just doing a straight up mark to prevent that big shot.
Going back to Haney now, who does a big blading flick over the top to Peg, who's there. Edmund Fung contests, but Peg comes down with the Frisbee in what is an exceptional read by the young man. Brisbanites stop the break train and hold for the first time in 4 points.
Jeez, there were so many turns in that point. SWU Ambush could smell the blood. Ultimately, Brisbanites having enough clarity and decision-making to get that steadying score to beat the Demons. They have hit the 12 mark, which eclipses their efforts from the semi-final. So 12-8, they are still up a few breaks here on Ambush. Brisbanites hoping to distinguish the flame, but with the likes of Ruby and Lau and Upton, they have strong troops who are up to the task.
Yeah, and we're seeing defensive pressure from both sides picking up now. They can sense that the game's not over yet. It's still very much in the balance, and Brisbanites now will look to stifle the efforts of SWU as Taylor corks a lovely backhand pull that's going to land a little bit on that low side as Packy does not shoot to Upton and instead dumps to Ruby. He's got Visor, who's been so critical in generating flow for this offense. He finds Leong, finding Tran up the line. Will need to dump and swing, you'd imagine here. It's Leong as Upton working up the line with a lovely snatch. Doesn't want Packy. Wants Leong instead. Just manages to put it down after a bit of a low throw there from Upton. We'll be looking to get the Frisbee back as Parker slowly marches up to the Frisbee.
And there's a long cut coming from Villa. And Villa now comes under, and a fantastic save by Gurman, who lays out to get the deflection, but there's a call, perhaps a foul, on the Avila play.
Yeah, look, lots of bodies kind of converging on the 1 point there, and Gurman's somehow managed to avoid all of it. So we see, I think Upton's going to say something about Avila getting in his way, possibly impeding his ability to get involved in the Gurman bid there.
Yeah, Avila's initial movement was deep, which dragged his defender with him, and then cut under, but there's a lot of bodies, and I guess there might be a second question if Gurman had complete control of that disc before it touched the ground.
I think he had his hand underneath the bottom of it.
Yeah, so the first call, we think the foul looks like that's been retracted, and looks like the disc will stay with Gurman. There's no there's no down call on that one, so Brisbanites will maintain possession with a break opportunity in hand.
Gurman's having a lovely game so far as he finds Avila. And Packy has a sniff again, but Gurman, his hand's ever so reliable. As he now looks for options. Has Avila, thinks about it, chooses the wise up, finds Parker, who finds Avila. Those three triangulating perfectly as Brisbanites break to take a 5-point lead, and with not much time left in our regulation play, you've got to think that once again the Brisbanites find themselves in prime position.
Yeah, the Brisbanites very steady now. They have broken the duck, getting to 12 and now 13. That is a beautiful inside shot by Gurman, and that is Parker to Avila there for the score. As you said, some big plays pulled out by Gurman. He's been very consistent through the final series in this tournament and saving everything, it seems. So Brisbanites have managed to stop the break run of Ambush. Have Ambush got anything left in the tank to try to, again, peg back a couple of scores?
We just hear soft cap blow. Play this point and then add one to the highest score.
So sideline voices now a little quiet. Everyone kind of waiting and sensing that this is a tight game.
Some nervous energy around the field as Packy just overthrows to Ruby. It's a mirroring image of what we saw in the Brisbanites semi-final as they now get a chance to break and make it an almost impossible task for SWU Ambush. It's Parker, slow to the Frisbee. Has Haney isolated out in a bit of space. Doesn't throw, has Yang and Parker in errors, and a missed throw and a miscatch.
Just a couple too many stutter steps by Yang, I think, put a little bit of hesitation. Oh, and a fantastic layup block there by Parker to get the disc back. And Haney picks it up, wants to get things going quickly. He goes for a backhand to Yang, a low throw, and that's pretty clearly out of bounds. So a couple of passages of play with several turnovers by both teams.
Oh, and that's very close from Yang. Lifts up his feet. Got to ask what would happen if he did somehow pull off a toe drag there, but Upton will bring in the Frisbee.
So Haney, a very big mark, plenty of hands in the air, and O'Sullivan gets the block on Ruby. She wants it quickly in acres of space. And O'Sullivan there with the score for Brisbanites. They all get around her. They can smell the finish line. 14-8.
And O'Sullivan has had an absolutely perfect game so far, stepping up when her team needs it most. And a very crucial block and a crucial goal for a double happiness from her. Brisbanites knocking on the door of a bronze medal.
And as we see on the replay here, O'Sullivan just getting a step in front of Ruby. And that is Hess with the assist to O'Sullivan. Gets on a bike quickly after getting the block and plenty of space out the back of the end zone. So Brisbaneites will be looking to break and finish this game. Ambush looking to pull out some heroics. Will we see Fung, Lau on this line?
And you'd say it's a tough task, but 7 points in a row. We just saw it. Only an hour ago, we saw the impossible happen. Can SWU repeat the efforts of Oblivion? We'll see next in the gold medal match. As we see a similar power line that's been put out to great use. As an absolutely monstrous pull comes in. Upton receiving at the very back of the end zone, and Packy just snatching it away from the ground. Doesn't really have many options now. Needs to find a dump instead. Upfield to Visor. And Fung possibly questioning who was the intended receiver there.
Parker just managing to get a small tip to deflect the disc and affect that catch. Certainly that Callahan territory must have been playing on Ambush's mind.
As it goes up, Visor's got a chance now. And gets over the top of Parker, who's calling a foul, and we'll see it back on the replay if there's much merit in this call. Looks like Visor had not only the positioning but the athletic prowess to get up over his opposition here.
Now asking for some perspective from game advisor Steve Baker, who was in a very good spot. And retracted foul call, so the disc will stay with Visor for Ambush.
As Packy and Haney now with the field in front of them. Imagine Packy might win in a foot race here, but doesn't go as SWU, practicing some patience. Pick called by Gurman. Upton asking if it affects or if he should just catch up rather than reset the throw. Whew, as we see players running through as a patient SWU look to make the most of this opportunity.
I'm still loving the intensity brought by both teams. It has certainly been a very exciting bronze medal match. Love to see some amazing Frisbee on our screens. And a big shot goes up. And on the doorstep now, Feng. Just waiting for the cuts to evolve. The stall count is rising. Little backwards dump to Ruby. Goes 1-2 with Feng. Again, just hogging in the lanes a little bit, not quite clearing. He indicates that he wants a dump, and now he goes for a flick blade to Upton for the score. So Ambush scoring that hold, just delaying this game a little longer. Brings it up to 9-14 with the game to 15.
SWU there, displaying their patient offense, waiting until the moment's just right. We'll see Hess here working all the way around to the mark, doing an excellent job to stop the initial dump to Packy, but Fung knows his receivers and pops one up to the tall, lanky Upton. He's able to jump that in for a relatively easy goal.
Yeah, that was a very creative throw by Fung. Don't think the Brisbanite defenders were expecting him to go to that space, but a lovely little blade just drops into the lap of Upton. There was nothing that the Brisbanites could do about that one. So they have a second game point for the Brisbanites now. They will be starting on offense this time. I'm sure they've put a big line up. We can see the likes of Salnikova, Yang, Yu. Bit surprised not to see Hess as well, who's been a classic combination for the offensive set. But they've brought across Parker, Pegg, and O'Sullivan and Wearing for this line. So They'll be hoping for some smooth offensive flow to finish this point and this bronze medal match game quickly.
And it's an exceptional pull from Ruby here. SWU bolstering their defenses as well to counteract this offense team as Salnikova finds herself in space once again in front of Parker, who just can't get his hand around that leading pass. As Ruby now has a dish with Fung running deep, rips it backhand. Fung's gonna have to do an exceptional job. Oh my goodness, it goes for the greatest, but just doesn't pull it back inside the field enough. It's exceptional awareness from Edmund Fung. There's Ruby's backhand just couldn't find its way back inside the field enough, and Salnikova now swings to O'Sullivan. Those two have been linking up great. Waring was streeping deep, but as Yang now, goes, Yang shoots the handle up, proving she can cut deep as well with an exceptional grab over the top of Biner. Has options deep. Has Salnikova, Parker back as well, goes for the dump, back to the quarterback in Yang. Back to Yu. Can almost just go between the two of them so far and choose to. O'Sullivan is there, but bit of contact from Wu there on the mark.
And Yang just with those very wide pivots, making it very difficult for the defense to stop. And there's a violation. I think one of the ambush defenders moved a little bit earlier than when the disc was tapped in. So everyone will reset. See Parker gesturing for the Brisbanites to get back in the stack. The lanes are very clogged at the moment, making any upfield shots very difficult.
So Yang will bring it in. Has Yu running up line. You gotta think it's a great grab for the game! Yu with the layout goal, assisted by Yang. That is quite the way to cap off a bronze medal match, and Brisbanites take it 15-9.
Brisbanites redemption for that heartbreaker of a Universe point when they were up 11-5 against Oblivion. Come home with the dirty gold. Yu and Yang, integral part of this offense for Brisbanites, and that will put a smile on all the faces of the Queenslanders back home. I'm sure they will have enjoyed the stream over the last 3 days. Fantastic to showcase some amazing ultimate, Callum, but make sure you stay tuned. We have got the gold medal match coming up at 12 o'clock on your screens. We have Oblivion out from Melbourne and the Frisbee from New South Wales. We'll have the gold medal match coming shortly as we see that last score there from you, the Brisbanites taking home the bronze medal.
ULTI.TV.